Imagine waking up and nothing makes sense. Reality? Twisted. Thoughts? A chaotic mess. Emotions? Cranked up to the max. Every night, your brain does something that, if you were awake, would be called straight-up psychosis. Scary? Welcome to your mind on sleep. What if sleep isn't just rest, but an evolutionary tool for boosting our brain power? Why do we forget 90% of our dreams? Can we hack our subconscious and take control of our dreams like a video game? And is lucid dreaming really the next step in human evolution? After this video, your dreams won't seem like meaningless chaos anymore. And if you never dream, maybe tonight will change that, throwing you right into the heart of this mysterious nighttime show called Dreams. Some scientists believe that lucid dreaming isn't just some weird brain trick, but could actually be an evolutionary leap. If you can control your dreams, maybe you're an upgraded version of Homo sapiens? At least neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who has spent over 20 years studying sleep, is convinced.
Lucid dreams are way more than just some nighttime illusions.
But why does this only work for 20% of people? Why do most people get stuck in chaotic dreams, while others turn their nights into a personal playground for experiments? Personally, I've never been able to control my dreams. Honestly, sleep has never been my thing. Most of the time, it feels more like a fight than actual rest. And those people who can crash instantly, like hitting the off button and dream every single time, that's a freaking superpower. Strangely enough, many people who sleep poorly or too little actually take pride in it, as if insomnia were some kind of intellectual badge of honor.
The biggest cognitive leap actually happens in dreams.
Matthew Walker, the author of a book on the next stage of human evolution, might be exaggerating a bit, but there's one person who didn't just know about lucid dreams. He turned them into a tool. And who was that? None other than Richard Feynman. Calling him an ordinary man doesn't even come close. By the age of 25, he was already working on the Manhattan Project, helping to build the atomic bomb. And let's just say that was far from his only legendary achievement. He was an iconic safecracker, a beast on the bongos, an incredible humorist, a skilled painter, and the one who cracked the mystery behind the Challenger disaster in 1986. And when he got an early morning call telling him he'd just won the Nobel Prize in physics, he groggily mumbled, "I'm sleeping," and hung up without a second thought. Feynman, like everyone else, enjoyed sleeping, but he loved puzzles even more. And sleep and puzzles? They're way more connected than you might think. You'll see why soon. Ever since he was a kid, Feynman saw sleep as a mystery waiting to be solved. One day, his father asked him a weird question. What if aliens landed on Earth? Aliens that never sleep. How would you even explain sleep to them? What does it actually feel like to fall asleep? Do your thoughts stop, or do they just slow down, fading away? And how does your mind really switch off? Ever tried to catch the exact moment you fall asleep? As a kid, I did. Over and over. But every time, I'd just wake up. No clue what my last thought was before my brain pulled the plug. What made it even stranger was that I would literally fall asleep with my eyes open. Not because I was scared of some creepy monster lurking under my bed, but because I just needed to see something. You just lie there, staring at the ceiling, motionless. And then, it's morning. Of course, my eyes were closed. It's not like I slept with my eyes wide open like Major Payne, but somehow I just never remembered the moment they actually shut. Back in college, Feynman decided to crack the mystery his father once asked him, "What exactly happens to your mind right as you fall asleep?" He made his room pitch black, got into bed, and tried to pin down the exact second when reality melts into a dream. The first thing he noticed was some weird side effects. His thoughts kept running, playing out wordless conversations in his head. Behind his eyelids, flickering visuals popped in and out, like his brain was playing its own movie. And then, out of nowhere, something bizarre happened. Feynman realized that right on the border between sleep and wakefulness, his mind could juggle two totally unrelated thoughts at once. Sounds cool, but completely useless since these are just random thoughts appearing on their own. And the worst part? The moment you realize you're holding two ideas at once, the effect instantly vanishes. Feynman noted that as we fall asleep, thoughts keep flowing, but they gradually lose logical connection, turning into a chaotic stream. Funny thing is, you don't even realize when the logic starts breaking down until you ask yourself, where did this thought even come from? And so you try as hard as you can to track it back, but in the end, you come up blank. Then, suddenly, it hits you. You've lost the very thought you were chasing. It all seems logical at first, but your mind is already spinning nonsense. And the second that final thread snaps, you're out. One day, as he watched himself doze off again, Feynman suddenly realized he was already dreaming, yet somehow he was still watching it happen. It wasn't a blurry black and white haze, but a vivid, colorful reality he could control. From that moment on, his dreams became lucid, detailed, and incredibly sharp, where every element felt strangely well-defined. If a dimly lit, dusty library took shape in his dream, he could make out every grain of dust suspended in the air, as if a camera had zoomed in, picking up even the way lamplight brushed over the worn book covers. Of course, not all of his dreams were lucid and structured. Sometimes his dreams were just pure chaos, random symbols and nonsense all over the place. Like 3 brightly colored billiard balls, except one just wouldn't go into the pocket. It wasn't until he woke up that Feynman put it together. These balls were the 3 women he liked. And the one that wouldn't roll in? Turns out, she had moved abroad. Feynman spent years trying to decode the mystery of sleep, but he never found a definitive meaning. This video might seem strange to you because we're not here to talk about sleep as just a biological function, and not even about lucid dreaming. We're diving into the bizarre mental chaos that unfolds every night.
1, 2, Cogniq.
Last night, something straight up bizarre happened to you. And guess what? It's happening again tonight. But before you rush to deny it, Matthew Walker's got 5 solid reasons why you're dead wrong. First off, you saw stuff in your dream that doesn't even exist. Classic hallucinations. Second, you straight up believed the impossible. That's delusion. Third, you were totally lost. No clue where you were. That's disorientation. Fourth, your emotions flipped from euphoria to pure terror, like a roller coaster. Psychiatrists call it emotional lability. And when you woke up, most of it was gone. That's amnesia. Now, picture all of that happening to you while you're fully awake, not in a dream. Yeah, you'd probably be on your way to a psych ward.
Nope.
REM sleep and dreaming aren't just some weird brain glitch. They're a core biological and psychological function that we're just starting to figure out. Sleep isn't just normal, it's vital. One of its key roles is acting like an immune shield, blocking external viral threats. And it pulls it off flawlessly. But what if dreams serve a similar purpose? What if they're not just random images, but a defense, not from viruses, but from threats to the mind? Remember Nolan's movie, Inception? In the movie, the subconscious fought back, keeping outsiders from stealing secrets in dreams. Not just that, you could even train your mental projections to be personal bodyguards for your secrets. And if shared dreaming ever becomes real, we might actually need something like that to protect our secrets. Realistically, we'll probably never have to hack into someone's mind to steal their secrets. All your skeletons in the closet are already digitized and sitting in massive databases. Yes, I'm talking about your digital footprint, your browser history, your searches, every click you make. And yeah, I'm talking about the microphones in your laptop, your phone, even your car. Everything around you is eavesdropping 24/7. Everyone knows sleep has 2 phases, fast, REM, and slow, non-REM. While we sleep, these phases alternate, and each one comes with its own set of mental images. But REM sleep is where the wildest, most vivid, and emotionally charged dreams unfold. These are the bizarre, almost hallucinatory dreams researchers call true dreaming. That's why I'll sometimes just say REM sleep means dreaming. And to be honest, I'm not sure if this topic will really grab you, but if you're into this video, I'll make a part 2 about sleep in general and the crazy myths around it. Feynman, while exploring his dreams, came across something that genuinely freaked him out. Waking up. He described that eerie moment when you realize you're awake, but your body won't move, like you're trapped inside yourself. This is what we call sleep paralysis. See, even when you're lying there completely relaxed, your muscles never fully switch off. There's always a bit of tension left. That's what scientists call muscle tone. Hook yourself up to some sensors, and you'd even catch the faint electric hum of your muscles. When you enter non-REM sleep, some muscle tension fades, but not completely. But when your brain switches to REM sleep, the shift is dramatic. A few seconds before dreaming kicks in, your body fully shuts down. Your muscles lose all tone, and you go limp like a puppet with its strings cut. While your involuntary muscles, the ones that control your breathing and heartbeat, keep working, the rest of your body fully relaxes. Try to move during sleep paralysis, and you'll instantly realize who's really in charge. I know not everyone's been through this, but if you ever do, you'll get exactly what I mean.
Kind of leaning towards thinking he might actually be dead.
This kicks in when a powerful inhibitory signal shoots down from your brainstem through your spine. The moment it hits, big muscle groups, like your biceps and quads, just stop working. Your brain loses control over them. And just like that, you're trapped in REM sleep. You're fully aware of your position in space. You can control your breathing and eye movements, and it even feels like you could move. But the second you try, it's like time freezes and your brain's signal never reaches your muscles. What do I do when I have sleep paralysis? I've had it way too many times, and I keep coming to the same conclusion: fighting it is pointless. I don't resist. I don't try to break free. I just don't care and let myself drift back to sleep. And it always works. The moment REM sleep is over, my body snaps out of it on its own. Here's the paradox. While you're dreaming, while your body is completely paralyzed, your brain is firing on all cylinders, just like when you're awake. It locks your muscles, so you don't act out even your wildest dreams. At that moment, a storm of motor signals surges through your brain, powered by wild, fast-paced dream activity. It makes sense that nature gave our body its own straitjacket. The brain has a whole system that keeps your body from moving while you sleep. Isn't this proof that dreams actually serve a purpose? But what's it really for? Dreams have always been wrapped in mystery. Some believed they were messages from the gods, while others saw them as prophetic signs. And some just saw them as a replay of recent events, processed by the brain while sleeping. When it comes to dreams, there's one name that also comes up: Sigmund Freud. Of course, he couldn't just ignore them, he even came up with an entire system for decoding them. Let's not go too deep into this, but according to him, dreams reflect our hidden, unfulfilled desires. And some of them are so shocking that the brain has to disguise them in symbols and imagery. Otherwise, if a person saw their true nature in a dream, they would inevitably wake up in terror. Sure, sounds like an old-school theory, but hey, don't blame Freud. He was just a guy of his time. And us? We've got MRI scans. MRI studies show that during REM sleep, the logic center of the brain just shuts off. Meanwhile, visual, emotional, and motor centers go into overdrive, along with the part tied to autobiographical memory, including the hippocampus. Makes sense, right? If the hippocampus and memory center are so active, dreams should be packed with our latest memories, what Freud called day residue. But guess what? This day residue pops up in dreams only 1 to 2% of the time. So, no. Dreams aren't a replay of your day. Your brain grabs pieces, remixes them, and spins a whole new, often chaotic, story. And if day residue is even real, it's just a few drops in an ocean of chaotic, fragmented nighttime imagery. But one thing always slips from reality into dreams: our emotions. They leave the deepest imprint on what we see at night. Up to 55% of the emotions and experiences participants had during the day ended up in their dreams. And it wasn't just obvious to scientists. Participants noticed it too. If there's one thing that truly connects our waking life and dreams, it's emotions. Contrary to Freud's theory, there's no hidden censor, no layers of disguise. Dreams are wide open. Anyone can understand them. No outside interpreter needed. And that's the first clue to what they're really for. For the longest time, people thought dreams were just a side effect of REM sleep. Like the heat from a light bulb, just a useless side effect of light itself. After all, no one uses a light bulb to keep warm. Dreams have 3 main roles, what we can call the dream triangle, and I assumed they were all linked. That's what I thought until I actually looked into the 3 functions of dreams. I figured they'd all connect, but turns out they don't. Honestly, how can one thing do such completely different jobs at once? First, if something bad happens in your life, people might tell you, time heals all wounds. But no one really talks about what actually heals you, sleep and dreams. We all know it's a bad idea to make big decisions at night, that things look different in the morning, and that sleeping on it helps. And there's a good reason why. We've all been there. By morning, what felt like a huge problem yesterday suddenly seems way smaller. That's because during REM sleep, your brain shuts off norepinephrine, the main stress hormone. Think of something that felt like a total disaster 10 years ago. Now, those memories don't hit as hard as they used to. You still remember everything, but the emotions have faded or vanished completely. You can remember every little detail, but you just can't bring back the feeling. That's exactly what REM sleep does. It peels off the emotions and leaves just the raw data. Research shows that after intense stress, REM sleep lasts longer. Makes sense, stress hormones drop, and the brain resets itself. But what do dreams have to do with it? Turns out depressed patients who dreamed about their emotional struggles got better, or even fully recovered within a year. But those whose dreams had nothing to do with their trauma, or who didn't dream at all, stayed depressed, still carrying that emotional baggage. Some combat veterans who've seen extreme violence and destruction often develop post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The first big symptom is intense anxiety and a constant sense of danger, while the second is endless, gut-wrenching nightmares that haunt them for years, turning sleep into a source of dread. During REM sleep, people with PTSD struggle with disrupted stress hormone regulation. Normally, the brain sorts through traumatic experiences at night, stripping emotions from facts and replaying them in dreams. But for those with PTSD, this system fails. Their stress hormone levels stay high even in sleep, messing with the brain's ability to heal. So they're stuck with constant anxiety during the day, and at night, their own brain, instead of helping, makes them relive their trauma over and over. Second, think about this. Even if a person's face is blurry or distorted, there's more than a 50% chance you'll recognize them. Our brain is insanely good at recognizing faces and reading expressions. The closer we are to someone, the easier it is to spot them in a crowd or even from far away. This skill has been key to our evolution, helping us tell friend from foe and read their intentions. Our brain automatically picks up on facial expressions, decoding emotions around us. But without REM sleep, this ability starts to break down. People start misreading facial cues and might even see friends as threats. Not physically, but emotionally. That's because this sleep phase is key to resetting the brain areas that help us process facial expressions. Fun fact for you, every face you see in a dream, even the ones that seem totally random, actually belongs to someone you've seen before, even if just for a split second. Your brain is just lazy. It's way easier to grab a face from memory than to whip up a brand new one from scratch. I'll get into how sleep supercharges your memory in a bit. So, we've all noticed random faces appearing in our dreams. Maybe that's the brain's way of making sense of social signals. Studies show that the better a person's REM sleep, the sharper their ability to read emotions the next day. But when people are deprived of REM sleep, their perception of emotions goes haywire. Volunteers who had this phase disrupted lost their ability to distinguish subtle emotional cues. What once was a clear distinction between friendly and hostile expressions became a chaotic blur. Their brains became hypersensitive, misinterpreting even neutral or positive facial expressions as threatening or alarming. Why does the brain focus on negative emotions? That's survival instinct at work. When the brain struggles to read someone's expression, it assumes the worst and flags them as a potential threat. And third, this is where it gets insane, and that's exactly why I had to make this video. If we could live without REM sleep but suddenly lost it, bam! No more genius ideas.
I forgot.
Nothing that requires deep thinking. No dreams, no Newton, no Darwin, no Tesla. Einstein's relativity? Gone. Feynman and Heisenberg's mind-blowing discoveries? Never happened. Quantum mechanics? Forget about it. History's greatest ideas? Wiped out. Our greatest and most logically sound scientific ideas actually come from the chaotic visions we see in our dreams. Ever wonder why they are so absurd? In sleep, memories blend, twist, morph, turning into bizarre, abstract visions. That's when your brain sifts through mountains of info, connects dots in wild ways, and digs up hidden patterns. By morning, the puzzle is reshuffled. And just like that, you crack problems that once felt impossible. We all know Mendeleev. You've heard of him, right? His periodic table, the ultimate proof that dreams help us connect the dots. Because, believe it or not, he literally dreamed it up. You've probably heard this story, but let's break it down. Mendeleev, the Russian chemist, was fixated on cracking the code behind chemical elements. He wrote down every known element's properties on index cards and kept shuffling them, at home, in his office, even on the go, desperately trying to find the hidden logic behind this mysterious system. Years of searching, nothing worked. But on the night of February 17th, 1869, something happened in his sleep, something he just couldn't crack while awake. The scattered elements spinning chaotically in his mind suddenly snapped into place. Rows became periods, columns became groups, and each element landed exactly where it belonged based on its atomic structure. Mendeleev later said,
"In a dream, I saw a table where every element clicked into place. The moment I woke up, I grabbed scrap of paper and jotted it down. Turns out, I only had to fix one thing."
Not everyone buys the idea that he dreamed up the entire periodic system, down to the last detail, but one thing's for sure. The backbone of the periodic table came to him in a dream. This isn't the only time a dream has led to a groundbreaking discovery. Austrian-German pharmacologist Otto Loewi didn't just dream. He watched an experiment unfold in his sleep. He took 2 frog hearts and proved that nerve cells communicate not just through electrical signals, but also with chemicals across synapses. And this wasn't just any experiment. It was the one that won him a Nobel Prize. Paul McCartney didn't just write "Yesterday" and "Let It Be." He literally heard them while sleeping. And this isn't just some cool trivia. History is packed with stories like this. At first glance, this might seem like pure luck, genius-level insights that only happen to a chosen few. In reality, these tiny flashes of insight happen to everyone. Maybe not on the level of a Nobel Prize or a chart-topping hit, but still, your brain is constantly working things out in the background. All the pieces are already in your head, they're just scattered all over the place. Sleep is like a pro editor, piecing those fragments together into a full picture. At night, your brain becomes a film studio, cutting and splicing scenes from your life into a storyline that actually makes sense. And when you wake up, the answer is just waiting for you. Sounds cool, but what does science actually say? Do we have solid proof that dreams really fuel creative breakthroughs? Or is this just another urban legend? Cracking the mystery of the sleeping brain is no easy task. I mean, it's literally knocked out. You can't just tap someone on the shoulder mid-dream and say, "Hey, invent something genius." That's why scientists had to get crafty with their experiments. Matthew Walker. Yeah, most of this video is based on his book. So, Walker designed a pretty clever test to crack a common issue. Ever woken up feeling like your brain's still buffering? That's sleep inertia. It's that weird limbo where your brain's not fully awake and running on low power. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and self-control, doesn't turn on immediately but wakes up gradually. For the first 20 to 30 minutes after waking up, it's not fully alert. During this time, memory, reaction speed, attention, and logical thinking all drop. You're slow, grumpy, and basically useless for a while. For example, if I get woken up at the wrong time, my whole day is screwed. I don't even know who I am or why I exist. In everyday life, I'm a normal person. But in the morning, I'm basically a lifeless lump. Probably like anyone else whose brain is still buffering. Walker had a question. Could this weird in-between state between sleep and wakefulness be used for science? So he came up with an experiment, waking volunteers at different sleep stages to see how well their brains could handle puzzles. He picked anagrams, simple enough that even a groggy brain could take a shot at solving them. To make the test more precise, each word consisted of 5 letters, and each puzzle had only one correct answer. The volunteers got their instructions, went to sleep, and were woken up at different sleep phases, twice in slow-wave sleep, light and deep, and twice in REM. The moment a participant woke up, they were hit with an anagram and had just seconds to crack it. Nail it? Awesome. Mess it up? Back to sleep. Each round lasted 90 seconds, designed to catch that prime moment. Walker then tallied up how many right answers they managed to fire off. The results were pretty wild. Waking someone up in slow-wave sleep, not great. Their brain was sluggish, barely managing to crack a couple of anagrams. But waking them up in REM sleep, right when the brain was spinning up dreams, whole different story. Their thinking speed shot up, and they nailed 35% more brain teasers than in slow-wave sleep, or even when they were fully awake. And after REM sleep, they weren't just solving problems, they were blazing through them. One of the participants said, "The answers just popped into my head." Sticking with the same wake-up method, Walker's colleague, Robert Stickgold, took things further, testing a mind-blowing idea with another eye-opening experiment. This experiment kicks the brain into overdrive, especially for creativity. Stickgold studied associative thinking in 3 states: awake, waking from deep sleep, and waking from REM. Simple. In the first 2, everything's neat, structured, predictable, just like in the semantic map. But wake someone up in REM? Boom. Pure chaos. Logic crumbles. Patterns shatter. And suddenly, your brain links ideas that should have never been in the same universe. During REM sleep, the brain kicks logic straight into the trash. And then it flips into full-on no-rules mode. It leaps past logic, forging wild, absurd, and sometimes genius connections. That's when logic filters just shut off. Anagram tests, semantic networks. Experiments don't lie. In REM sleep, your brain makes up its own chaotic, no-limits rules. And the crazier the connections, the better. That's why dreams go absolutely wild. In Feynman's mind, billiard balls collided with his attempts to build relationships with women. Because, well, that's just how his brain rolled. When we're awake and trying to recall something, it's like squinting at the stars through the wrong end of binoculars. Everything seems too far away, the focus is razor thin, and most of the information just vanishes. We only catch glimpses of the vast web of memory connections. But the moment we drift into sleep, our perspective flips entirely. Now, we're looking through the binoculars the right way, and suddenly, everything comes into sharp view. The full picture becomes crystal clear. Massive layers of memory unfold, clicking into place. What once felt like scattered fragments of information now seamlessly interlock, forming intricate patterns like constellations igniting the night sky. Sleep is when the brain secretly constructs bridges between distant facts, weaving them into unexpected insights. And that is the gap between just cramming knowledge and actually getting it, between stuffing your brain and truly making sense of it all. REM sleep isn't just about storing info, it's when your brain levels up. Take an experienced doctor. They take one look at a patient and, in most cases, instantly know what's wrong. But they're not thinking through every symptom step by step. Their brain has linked thousands of tiny clues they don't even realize they're seeing. That's not magic. That's skill, honed over years, and boosted by REM sleep.
Dr. House, if you're gonna save this patient, you'll need this. Get this thing out of my sight!
The same thing happens when kids learn to speak. An 18-month-old hears a new phrase, sleeps on it, and the next day, they might already be forming a full sentence.
Goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a goat.
Sleeps isn't just rest, it's where your brain does the real work. One of the wildest proofs that sleep sparks genius ideas, a remarkable experiment by Dr. Ulrich Wagner from the University of Lübeck, Germany.
Doing just fine, Butters.
Before the experiment kicked off, volunteers got a quick rundown on how to tackle mind-numbingly dull tasks. And here's the kicker. Hidden inside those tasks was a general algorithm that could make solving them way easier and faster. Of course, no one told them that. They were just split into two groups. The first group tackled the tasks in the morning, then went about their day for 12 hours. That evening, they returned and solved hundreds of similar problems again. The second group, however, arrived in the evening, and the next morning, after a full night's sleep, performed the same task. In the first group, after a 12-hour break, where participants had ample time to consciously think about the problem, only 20% managed to discover the hidden algorithm on their own. But in the second group, where people just slept like babies, nearly 60% suddenly cracked the problem in the simplest way possible. And the wildest part? They weren't even thinking about it. They were asleep. Turns out sleep triples your odds of a creative breakthrough. Some might say, yeah, but what about those genius minds who barely slept and still churned out groundbreaking ideas? Take Thomas Edison. He supposedly ran on just a few hours of sleep a day, yet managed to patent over 1,000 inventions in the US and nearly 3,000 worldwide. First off, the legend of his superhuman sleep schedule? Pure myth. Yeah, supposedly, he only slept a couple of hours. But there's zero proof. We'll probably never know if he really slept that little, though Edison totally played along with it. But here's one thing we do know. He was a daytime napper. And not just randomly, but strategically. He knew sleep was rocket fuel for creativity and milked it for all it was worth. You could say he used naps as a cheat code for genius. Legend has it, Edison would sit in his chair by the desk, notebook and pen within reach. On the floor beneath the armrest, a metal pan sat, waiting. In his right hand, he clutched metal balls and let himself drift. The moment he slipped into sleep, his grip loosened. The balls crashed onto the pan with a sharp clang, snapping him awake, just in time to scribble down whatever flashes of insight he had snatched from his dreams. Pretty smart, huh? And here's another fun fact. Science and personal experience prove it. If you wake up naturally, when your brain decides it's time, your dreams fade, leaving only a few blurry fragments. But if you're jolted awake mid-dream, whether by a blaring alarm or a biker blasting past your window at supersonic speed, you're way more likely to remember your dreams. Try it and thank me later. Dreams are a true workshop of the subconscious, where crazy ideas, unexpected insights, and the most unconventional solutions come to life. It's no surprise that the author of the book draws such bold conclusions. The whole lucid dreamers are the next step in evolution thing sounds epic, but let's be real. It's a stretch. It's not some superhuman ability, just a skill almost anyone can pick up if they actually try. Think of it like having your own private IMAX, where you're not just watching, you're directing the whole thing. And if we're talking peak creativity, what's cooler than building entire worlds straight from your imagination? Matthew Walker even writes,
Perhaps in the near future, such people will become a unique group capable of solving many creative problems and tackling humanity's biggest challenges.
It sounds inspiring, but to be fair, people dive into lucid dreams not for major breakthroughs, but for fun. And I would do exactly the same. But even if you, like me, can't steer your dreams, just sit back and enjoy the show, because in our dreams, we're all a little bit of a genius. Well, good luck trying to fall asleep after all that. Who knows? Maybe tonight your brain will drop a genius idea on you. Got a wild idea in your sleep? Share it in the comments. If you found this interesting, hit like and sub. It helps this video stay alive in the algorithm. And don't forget to smash that bell so you don't miss the next one, even if you're still dreaming.